So, welcome to the Gen Z podcast. For those of that you know us already, you'll know that this is a platform where we give early career professionals the chance to share their hopes and aspirations about the future of work. So, in terms of format, we ask the same 5 questions to all of our guests. And today, I couldn't be more happy to be welcoming Kathleen. She's joining us from Seattle today. Kathleen, very, very warm welcome. Tell us how long you've been working, what industry sectors. Let's get to know you a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So I've been working for a little over a year now. I'm currently still in university, but I've taken the year off between my last year to pursue my co-op program. So do 3 terms of work before I go back for my senior year and graduate. So since last September, I've been working in higher ed industry. So I worked at UW Foster, which is a business school in University of Washington, and I've also worked in a defense tech startup company in the HR department. So kind of laying the foundations, early foundations in this company, surveys and also recruitment. So doing a lot of sourcing and recruitment for the HR team.
Wow, that sounds like 2 really different work environments. I bet you've seen some probably some similarities, but also some differences. Can't wait to hear more.
It's been a good lesson in how different workplaces operate, and early exposure to that, I feel like, is very valuable for a young
Yes,
professional.
100%, 100%. And so, Kathleen, tell us one thing about today's work culture that feels out of sync with how you operate or the things that you value.
So I feel like something that feels out of sync for me is how much of work nowadays lives within a screen online. So I think a lot of people in my generation already find it pretty hard to disconnect from technology in our personal lives. So going on our phones, social media. But I think given the increase of how many jobs post-COVID have moved to a more remote format, that boundary between personal and work sometimes gets blurred for me personally.
Hmm.
And I also find outside of work, I have less time to feel grounded or participate in activities like outside, away from technology, basically. And then, yeah, given that my phone is always on me and I always get constant notifications, personal and work life. So, yeah, that boundary between personal and work life through technology is something that feels very out of sync for me.
Hmm. Hmm. And if you could redesign one part of how companies work, could be anything at all, could be meetings, hierarchy, onboarding, anything you like,
Mhm.
what would you change first and why?
I think the hiring process is something. So as a entry level, work, having entry level work experience and seeking that out as someone who's about to graduate, I think I hear a lot of stories about people who apply to 100 to thousands of jobs to just try to secure a full-time job post grad. And I think a lot of that has to do with job descriptions, the employer not being completely specific with what they want. So that leads to a lot of, students or recent grads over applying to jobs that
Hmm.
the employer had no intention of looking closely at them. And being on the other end of it, also being able to see the recruiting process, there's a lot of internal wants and very specific things they want internally that isn't always put onto the job description. So I think that's a bit unfair for especially entry level roles, recent grads
Hmm.
who just want a chance and just want to get in there. And I think it'd save everybody time in the application process if, they're really specific on that job description. So people who are qualified will seek out that job.
Hmm. Hmm. So I'm hearing that there's hidden stuff that perhaps screens people out when
Mhm.
they apply without them really knowing. And so what I'm hearing you say to employers is know what you want and be pretty clear
Mhm.
about it in the job description. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean, they know what they want. They just aren't always showcasing that onto the job description.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
that's almost unfair for the applicants because you don't want to put so much time into your resume cover letter to apply for the
Yeah.
job when behind the scenes the employer you're already not a ideal candidate for the employer.
Yes, the deck of cards is already stacked, so to say. Hmm. Hmm. Switching gears a little bit, How do you decide, Kathleen, whether to trust someone at work?
So my thought process is kind of a micro and macro level. So what I mean by micro is in my first 30, 60, 90 days, like me being a very new employee in this environment, a few things I personally screen for. If during this stage, a peer or a manager is very eager in making that first step and reaching out and also asking if I need any help, that I can go to them, that's a great sign for me that, this person's very open and welcoming. Another one that I personally emphasize a lot on is in a workplace, I like boundaries and respect. I like to approach it with that initially. And so
Hmm.
I see a peer manager also comes up to me with that same value system. It
Mm.
gives me more a feeling that I can also trust them because I
Hmm.
have those same values. On a macro level, though, after I've been at the company for a while and I've started to, get a holistic view of what the environment is like, some things that I tend to vet for is how is this person generally perceived around the office? If it's positive, then that's a green flag. Another
Mm.
thing is how consistent is this person? Is this person that I met on the first day the exact same way 6 weeks later? That's a green flag for me as well. And then the last one I would say is does this person positively influence those around them? That's my three green flags in a holistic sense once I've been there.
Yeah, beautifully thought through. Thank you. And so carrying on from that theme of trust, um, what kind of leadership do you wish you saw more of in the world?
Mhm. I wish I saw more leadership that genuinely embraces change. So that can be a myriad of things right now. What's really relevant is AI, embracing AI, new ways of working, or shifting values in the workplace, being able to adapt to that. Fortunately for me, a lot of the leaders and managers I've worked with have not wanted to stay in that comfort zone. They want to try and they want to evolve and incorporate all these new things that come up. Specifically, I'd also really love to see leaders who are more open to mentoring younger generations, like my generation, and collaborating with us, because it also indicates that they understand our perspective is really important as the incoming workforce. And I think for my personal experience in the workforce so far, I've been really lucky to have mentors that are really excited about my generation and really excited about the impact that we're going to make. And just having
Hmm.
that mindset as a leader, I think, is very important.
And I remember in our pre-conversation, you were telling me about one manager that you have that really gives you the space to experiment and try, even if maybe, you don't necessarily at the beginning feel super confident, but
Mhm.
that sounds like something that you had really valued as well.
And I don't feel like I don't know if that's a unique experience to me, or I've just been very lucky, but I do hope most younger generations, my generation, students or people going into the workforce have mentors like that.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's very valuable.
Well, we can hope.
Yeah.
We can
Well,
hope.
I hope
I think it can be a little bit of a mixed picture, for sure. And this is one of the reasons we're doing this. This
Mhm.
platform is to be able to communicate what folks in your generation really, value, and that for sure is a common theme that I hear in these type of conversations.
Yeah.
Um, so to close with our fifth question, in what ways should a company invest in your growth?
So I think one of the biggest ways a company can invest in my growth is by closing the feedback loop. And what I mean by that is I've been in a few workplace environments at this point, and there are some environments where I can see my feedback is genuinely wanted, it's welcomed, it's going to contribute to something, an outcome. And then I've also been in workplaces where I can tell it's a formality. They're asking for maybe
Hmm.
HR purposes or whatever. They're just asking for the sake of asking, and none of what I say, if I put a very thoughtful reflection into it, will actually be incorporated. So I think that's kind of where I think a company can invest in their employees' growth. And then for me, yeah, growth happens when I see real change being implemented into the company based off my feedback. And I want to be somewhere where through action, my perspective matters. And that's a way to show it.
Hmm. Hmm. Wonderful. Well, those are our five questions. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we close today?
Anything else I'd like to share? I think right now it's a very volatile, is that a good word to use, environment for a lot of people in my age group. There's a lot of things changing in the
Yeah.
world and also just in the corporate world or in the work world. And I think having a very positive mindset, I think one thing that's really helped me through working, because not a lot of my peers have had the same work experience as me thus far, one thing that's really helped me is my attitude. And I think having
Hmm.
a positive attitude, walking into a workplace with just not being a Debbie Downer, like being someone who's very positive and is happy to do any, or not anything, but happy to engage in a lot of the things that are asked, and also seeking opportunities and seeing where, you can help out. That has been the
Hmm.
biggest asset, I think, in my journey so far working, just
Hmm.
bringing a good attitude, because people see that automatically, people in the workplace, and it makes you someone they want to trust, or makes you someone that they want to work with.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. We do a lot of work in the field of growth mindset and sort of which is the positivity that you're talking about, but also the wherewithal and the resilience when you do come up against a challenge that you sort of try to figure it out and come with a solutions mindset. And I can even in the few short calls that we've had, I can see that you have that in bucket loads. So I know that you're going to be very successful
Thank you so
with that mindset alone, let alone all the other
much.
skills and capabilities that you have.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, my dear. Well, listen, I'll sign us off now. Thank you so much, Kathleen, and I'm looking forward to seeing your growth trajectory in the coming months and years to come, and best of luck to finish your studies.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for giving us all this platform. That's super invaluable in itself. So thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thanks so much.